Hello everyone, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We hope you're all doing well and enjoyed STEM Week the other week, and we hope you learned some cool things about science and managed to do some interesting experiments. I have to say that our experiments didn't go so well, did they?
Yeah, we have a few fails.
Indeed, although we did have some fun with some dry ice.
Yeah, that was cool.
But we have been learning a bit about space, and we've been looking into some fun facts about the size of our galaxy, our solar system, and our neighbouring planets. So here's our little guide to the size of the solar system. So before we look at the size of our own patch of the cosmos, let's first look out into the universe. Now the universe is a very cool place, but it is huge.
Yeah, it's ginormous.
Indeed, it boggles the mind when you really think about it. Now here we see a collection of galaxies, but these galaxies only make up a very, very small part of the universe. The universe is actually made up of hundreds of billions, or maybe even trillions of galaxies. So let's focus in on the galaxy that we live in for a moment. Now you might just know the name of our galaxy.
The Milky Way!
Yes, the Milky Way, that's right. And even the Milky Way is huge. It's about 600 quadrillion miles across. If you could travel at the speed of light, it would take you at least 100,000 years to get from one side to the other. Pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now our Sun is about halfway between the centre of the Milky Way and the outer edge.
About here?
Yeah, that's about right. But our Sun is just one of between 100 and 400 billion stars that make up the Milky Way.
Well, that's a lot of stars.
It is. And did you know that when you look up at the night sky without a telescope, almost everything you see is inside the Milky Way?
Everything?
Well, almost. On a very clear night, you might just be able to see our nearest galactic neighbour, the galaxy Andromeda. Now this would take about 2.5 million years to get to if you could travel at the speed of light, but from here it just kind of looks like a fuzzy little blob. But let's zoom right in and take a look at our own solar system. Now our solar system is made up of the Sun and 8 planets, as well as a load of moons, including our own. But there are a number of dwarf planets, comets, and lots of asteroids. But we're just going to focus on the main bigger objects for now. Sorry, Moon. So if we start right at the centre of the solar system, let's see if we can name those objects.
The Sun?
Yes, the Sun is right in the centre, but how about the planets?
Mercury? Venus? Earth? Mars? Jupiter? Saturn? Uranus? Neptune?
Yeah, that's right, perfect. And all the planets are different sizes, they're made of different materials and have different atmospheres, and they all orbit the Sun at different distances. But all those sizes and distances are still a bit mind-blowing, so maybe we can shrink things right down and make it a little easier to wrap our heads around. So we'll start with the Sun, which is about 865,000 miles wide. Now if we shrink it down by about 1 billion times, we'll find that it would be just a little bit bigger than Eva here.
Oh my goodness.
Now our own planet Earth is about 7,900 miles wide, and if we shrink that down, it would be about the size of...
A small grape.
Correct. And a person living on that grape-sized Earth would only be about the size of 3 atoms, which is extremely tiny. But what about all the other planets? Well, let's carry on with the rest of the smaller inner planets. Now, the blisteringly hot planet Mercury, which is just over 3,000 miles wide, would be about the size of...
A small grain of rice.
And the somewhat smelly planet Venus, which is a little smaller than Earth at 7,500 miles wide, would be about the size of...
A small grape too.
Indeed. And Mars, the 4,200 mile wide red planet, would be about the size of...
A large grain of rice.
That's right. Next we'll move on to the larger, more distant planets, and we'll probably need slightly bigger food items here. So the largest planet in our solar system, the gas giant Jupiter, would shrink from 86,000 miles wide to about the size of...
A nice juicy mango.
Yeah, yummy, huh? And the next largest, the ringed planet of Saturn, would shrink from 72,000 miles wide to the size of...
A large orange.
That's correct. And the bitterly cold distant worlds of Uranus and Neptune, which are both just over 30,000 miles wide, would end up about the size of...
A tangerine.
Yeah, a tangerine. So when you compare these objects, you can see just how big our Sun is compared to Earth and the other planets. But how about we keep things at this size and we'll see just how far everything is from the Sun. So, if Eva is the Sun and she stands at the end of a professional football pitch, our rice-sized Mercury would sit about 2/3 down that pitch at
43 million miles.
Grape-sized Venus would be a bit further away and would be at the other end of the pitch at
67 million miles.
And our grape-sized planet Earth would sit further still, about 1.5 pitches away at
94 million miles.
That's right, and this distance is also known as 1 astronomical unit. The final inner planet, our rice-sized Mars, would be about 2 whole football pitches away from our Eva-sized Sun at
130 million miles.
And for the larger planets, the sizes start getting a little bit more extreme, and we might start running out of football pitches. So let's get on our hiking boots and take a wee stroll through the Scottish Highlands. We'll start our journey at the bottom of Glencoe village on the banks of Loch Leven, and we'll place our Eva-sized Sun right about here. Now to get to our mango-sized Jupiter, we'd have to walk all the way through the village and up to the Glencoe Memorial, roughly 770 metres away, which would be about the same as
480 million miles.
It would, but let's take a stroll all the way up to the Glencoe Lochan, about 1 mile away, where we'll find our orange-sized Saturn. This would be equal to
930 million miles.
Yeah, more or less. Now we'll head up the back road until we find our tangerine-sized Uranus, which would be at the Red Squirrel campsite, almost 2 miles away. This would be about
1.8 billion miles.
Yeah, things are getting further away now. But we've still to find Neptune, and we might be in luck if we stop at the Clachaig Inn for a spot of lunch, close to 3 miles away, or
2.7 billion miles.
Of course, our solar system doesn't end there, and on the way to the edge we'd pass by Voyager 1 and 2, which have been travelling outwards since they were launched by NASA in 1977, so they're about as old as I am. Now these guys would have made it all the way to the King's House Hotel by now, 12 or 13 miles away, which at this scale is the same as...
which is 13 billion miles.
And by the time we eventually get to the very edge of our solar system, past the most distant planets, dwarf planets and asteroids, to a place where the Sun no longer has any influence, we'd find that we'd have walked all the way out of the Highlands until we reach Falkirk, home of the Kelpies, roughly 90 miles away.
That's 89 billion miles.
It is, but just to get a little bit crazy, what if we actually wanted to venture as far as another star? Maybe our nearest neighbour Alpha Centauri, which is actually 3 stars together. The Alpha Centauri system is about 4 light years away, or 25 trillion miles. But once we've scaled things down 1 billion times, that distance would be about the same as travelling once around the Earth. That would be like starting at the bottom of Glencoe village, launching a microscopic rocket from our wee grape-sized Earth, and travelling in one direction around the planet until we got all the way back to Glencoe again. That's quite a journey.
Yeah, that's a long way.
So hopefully now you're able to picture just how big our planet and our solar system are, and maybe you can try and imagine just how enormous our galaxy is, or even the universe. It does seem like it just goes on forever, and we may never know everything that's out there, or if there's an edge to the universe, or even if there might be other life forms on other planets somewhere in the cosmos. But it's pretty cool to imagine all the possibilities, don't you think?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and hopefully you can all join us again next time.
Bye bye.
Goodbye. Wow, can you believe we just got through all of that without blinking once?
My eyeballs are dry.